let's dive into it, shall we? So look, the thing is, the presentation was a little, it was nerdy, okay? It was nerd all over the place. And like deep nerd, not just casual nerd, which is what I expected. They didn't show us the console itself. They didn't show anything about the console. They just talked about the specs, like core technologies of it, which is good. It teaches us that there's going to be a differentiation factor between the Series X and the PS5. Compared to the current generation, we didn't really have much of a difference, okay? It was just who had the bigger muscle and, of course, the software exclusivity. But besides the games themselves, there wasn't really anything to stick them apart from each other that was drastic, okay? But the next generation, I think we're going to have some key differential factors on it. So, for start things off, they said there's going to have features that you're not going to have to implement. So they did confirm ray tracing on it. Ray tracing will include the audio side of things. And so ray tracing is in there just like the Series X. The one thing that they failed at, I think, quite big, but then again, it is kind of early, so it's going to go under the rug. And I do believe that's what they planned. And of course, they try to cover it with, oh, by the way, this, there's this, you're not going to like it, and but it's not that bad. And then boom, SSD. So they start throwing lies out there like some politician, but let's keep it real here. The thing is, PlayStation 3 was living hell. They said for the developers' right to adjust to that platform, and they said this time around, we're keeping it cool. But this is the thing that ain't cool. They're not having PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility as of right now, okay? Might be added later on, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're building it. Because I honestly think Xbox took a long time to build that. And it was one of their primary goals. And they have a lot, going for it. PlayStation, I don't see them. They didn't worry about it. I mean, PlayStation 3 did it, but it was actually a PlayStation 2 inside a PlayStation 3. It wasn't like some high-tech stuff in there. It's just simple, grab a 2 and boom, put it in there. So, but that was expensive. Anyway, the thing is, PS5 will be backwards compatible with PS4 and PS4 Pro, but not all titles. And they did say this. Over the 100 top played games on PlayStation, almost all of them are going to work on day one on PS5, okay? So just picture that. That's good. You're like, okay, but wait a second. Maybe I don't play. What are the top 100 played games? Like, you start thinking, and you're like, and then it says almost all of them? And so how long is it going to take to release the other ones? Are they going to be updated? And he said, look, the thing is, it has more horsepower, and some of the code on the old games is not going to work. Well, that is true. That is normal. Yeah, makes sense. But he didn't say, like, further down the road, all the games are going to be there. It was really vague. If you're going for backwards compatibility dream here, like your perfect backwards compatible console, that's the Xbox. That's not going to be this. At least for when it first releases, or maybe even quite into it. I'd say halfway through it, maybe. Its life cycle. We'll see what happens. But anyway, backwards compatibility, there you go. Some PlayStation 4 games are going to play. More than likely, I personally think it's going to be all, if not all, most exclusivities like God of War, which is what I care for. Honestly, for me, the way I see it is, right now I have my Xbox One X. That's where I play any game that's not a PlayStation exclusive. Except for Tekken. That thing runs like trash on the Xbox. But anyway, you know what I mean. So, if you are kind of bummed about this, let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit the bell with a notification after you subscribe. And you hit the like button if you want to know more about this stuff and blah, blah, blah. I have to put that somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, let's talk about the SSD. The SSD is where the sweet spot for the PlayStation happens. This is where I tickle my pickle. The thing is, PlayStation has a different approach than Xbox. It's going to have ultra-fast boot, and I'm reading them as I'm talking to you. No load screens. No load screen is what they're saying, okay? Xbox Series X already showed that they're cutting down from a 50-second load screen to an 8-second load screen, which for me, that is amazing. But that's just the natural inheritance of SSD. But PlayStation's going a little deeper. They're going to go ultra-high-speed streaming, and this is the part that I laughed. Deduplicate game data, no long patch installs. That, I would just say, put it on the same thing, pretty much. Like, that's pretty much was one bullet point, but they made it sound like two, because honestly, let's be honest. PlayStation, to me, the UI, besides the UI being, I think, inferior to the Xbox, but that's objective. The installation for games is annoying, okay? That is a fact. Compared to the Xbox, you get your install and download in the same bar. It happens at the same time. PlayStation does this weird thing where you download something and then you have to install it. And, that's annoying. That's slow. That's old. That's 2000, man. Let's get up in the days. But anyway, that's what I found that hilarious. Let's go into comparing the PlayStation 5 to the 4. This was kind of get us into it. If you're looking to see which one's got more teraflops, I'm just going to break it down to you. Spoiler alert, Xbox. Higher CPU, better GPU, that's Xbox. But the SSD, baby, that's where the PlayStation is going to uniquify itself. We're looking at, okay, I'm not going to read it all because I don't want to make the video long. You can see it, pause it, read it. I'm just going to talk about what, it's the actual important stuff. The new console, actually, I'm just going to skip this graph because you saw it, you paused it, you read it, it's all good. This is the important one that we care about. PlayStation 5 versus Series X, okay? This shows us that the CPU is going to outperform the Xbox Series X. CPU is going to outperform the PlayStation 5 there's this exception though. They're pretty much the same chip, you could call it, right? It's based on the, what's it called? R&D, okay, Zen 2, yeah, there it is, Zen 2, whatever, it's a custom chip, but anyway, it's going to be, the PlayStation is going to run at a variable frequency rate compared to the Series X, which is just going to be a flat out 3.8, and then it says it'll have a secondary mode, but pretty much the idea is flat out rate, either mode you choose. PlayStation, variable frequency, okay, on CPU performance. The GPU, Xbox has more teraflops, but it runs a little slower, but it's constant on that speed. It does have more CUs though, and the PlayStation, this is the part where the conference, I noticed a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, but some weird talk, He starts saying teraflops are, he prepared for this. Teraflops are different. They have quality over quantity of teraflops, which is, I agree, being an Apple guy and comparing the specs from Apple devices to Android devices, we see that play over and over again. Of course, there are some things, that are truly natured better just by numbers. But for the majority of things, it is the quality of the object or the number rather than the quantity of it. So there's that. So I'll give him that. But at the same time, when you're looking for numbers and raw power, then I guess Xbox there wins and we take the win there. So it's good. We're gonna have the Series X technically be the superior machine hardware-wise specs at the start of the console generation compared to this current generation. Anyway, this is where it gets nasty. Memory, okay? We have about the same thing, DDR6. Of course, one is G, and I believe G is higher level if I remember right. But anyway, I'm not that tech nerd into that stuff. And let me know in the comment section below if the G is actually better than the DDR6, okay? I believe it is. Anyway, the juicy stuff is the SSD. This is where it gets juicy. The I/O throw output. We're looking at much higher speeds on the PlayStation. That's where we're going to get our loading screens. And not just loading screens. We're going to get the ability to load in assets from a gaming world. So like the game design usually has corridors, something in front of you that you have to go around in order to get it, or loading or some form of transportation that allows the game to pull in data, right? So this is where the big stuff is going to be the difference. The worlds, like I mentioned before, are going to be different. They're going to be able to be designed differently, which brings into question how that technology is going to transfer over to the Series X that's going to have that limitation in loading times, which I think is going to be cool if we eliminate loading screens. Like, I think God of War was a perfect example of it, like making loading screens disappear, even though they were hidden. But just imagine that, I guess, in any game that is exclusive to PlayStation, or the ability to do that. It won't be probably done in everything, but you know what I mean. Anyway, that's where I'm excited. Xbox Series X does have some custom hardware too, to loading times and whatnot, but it's taking the approach of pretty much SSD there. Yet, the important difference here is the custom cards for the PlayStation 5, the external storage. If you want to expand your storage, it's going to cost you a nickel an arm. It's going to cost you literally an arm, or a quarter of the price, or half the price of the console itself. Because the PC, the current external cards that technically would work with this, but they don't. Don't go buying one. There's none out there right now. They even said when the console releases, we'll let you know which ones are good. Because right now, even the current ones that you can get are not fast enough. They don't reach the 5.5 gigabits per second threshold. They're actually below it. And so there is one coming out that's going to be, I think, 6, 7 something, right? Faster than this. But the issue is they're not out yet. So don't go buy one, future proofing or whatever, future preparing, because it's not going to work. And that's going to cost at least $100 to $200, because even the current ones cost $100 to $200 for a terabyte or up. So take that into consideration if you have a lot of PlayStation games. You will be able to store in an external one just like the Series X, but you won't be able to run the game from that external storage if it's a PlayStation 5 game. PlayStation 4 games you will. Of course, if you bring it over, and if it is compatible, it'll have a boost in loading. But anyway, Series X, I think the reason why Series X did not go into all that loading time enhancements is want to keep Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and then Series X all compatible with each other with at least 2 years of the release of the Series X. So you'll be able to play any game on anyone. No exclusive console-specific generational exclusive games. And so there's that approach. PlayStation 5 literally here just announced this is what's going to make them exclusive. So there's that. So it's just a different approach in things. Which one do you think is going to be the better one? Let me know in the comment section below. And I'm pretty much done here. We reached the end of it. I just want to talk about this 3D audio thing to finish it off, actually. So this graph is confusing as hell. But anyway, the thing is, they tested audio. They scanned ears. They did all this kind of complicated math to figure out what audio setting for real 3D audio is spatial audio, I guess, is supposed to feel, listen, to work like, you know? It's supposed to be true spatial audio. 3D audio is what they call it. They say that at first it's only going to work with headphones, and then they'll eventually release the 3D audio for soundbars and speakers. But at first it's going to be virtual surround sound. It's not going to be true 3D audio, which is like Dolby Atmos, but they say this is higher than Dolby Atmos because Dolby Atmos is limited in channels, like per objects in the space. Their 3D audio tech, they say it's going to be way above it, and it can adapt to multiple things. They say that that was one of the reasons why they didn't use Dolby Atmos. And second is that they have to pay a license, or people have to pay a license too in order to use it, and the hardware has to be compatible. So they said, let's not. In my opinion, I personally just see it as maybe the channel thing is true and they wanted to go beyond that. That's great. Given progress is amazing. But more than likely, Dolby didn't budge on their licensing. And I don't know much about it. If you do, let me know in the comment section below. Educate us. Share your knowledge, please. But anyway, I'm excited for it, though. I know it's technically like ray traced audio, and Xbox is supposed to be doing that too. I don't remember or recall if Series X is going to have Dolby. I think it's going to go with Dolby Atmos instead of a proprietary custom audio technology. So PlayStation technically, and they say it's going to grow. So it'll start with headphones, and it'll come with some 5 presets according to some 5 default, hearing patterns, because we all receive audio a little different. Some preset will not work with us, and I agree with that. I've tested it surround sound with different people, and I've come to notice that some people just don't notice it, even if they tried. So I do believe on that end, and I am excited for that audio thing that they're working on. And honestly, to sum it up, audio, PlayStation seems that they're going to go for the win here with their custom technology if it picks up. I'm okay with Dolby Atmos, but I'm okay with some other competition out there too, like hi-fi audio and whatnot. Second, SSD is going to bring some unique aspects to the games on PlayStation, which I'm wondering, where are we going to prioritize, right? Are we going to prioritize some experiences for that faster loading SSD than the Series X? And is that going to affect the version on the Series X? Or are we just going to sacrifice that much level of focus on the loading for the game design and just take it down a notch so we can have it on Series X, you know, especially open world games. Let me know what you think. I thought it was an amazing conference. It's definitely nerdy. It's not for mass marketing. That's going to be other people's jobs. And the backwards compatible, it is disappointing. I think for a lot of people. For me though, I'm all for being able to play Splinter Cell, the original, on my Xbox One X at 4K. I love that. But I'm gonna be honest, on PlayStation doesn't bug me because I care only for the exclusivities on PS4, and most of them have some PS3 exclusives. Most of them have some PS4 equivalent of it. As long as that's compatible, okay. Anyway, let me know what you think. Is that a deal breaker to you? Are you gonna go Xbox Series X or PlayStation? Me personally, I'm buying both. But let me know. This is my compilation, my review, and comparison between what we know on both. And I'll keep you posted with more updates as they come. Anyway, I feel like I'm boring you, so I'm gonna head out of here. And I'm okay, by the way, if you're wondering about the earthquake. It's all gooch. Stay cool, and I'll see you next time. Peace.